Okay, it's time for some more bait tips. Right now we're going to make some paste. You only need a few different ingredients. The additives are up to you. We can keep this nice and simple. Basically all you need is the Equinox base mix, or whichever base mix you choose. You can make your own base mix. You need 1 egg. Doesn't matter what size egg because we're going to do the liquids first and then add in the base mix. And then also we have, for the Equinox, we have to use the liquid additive. That's where all the attraction is. Obviously there's some in the base mix itself, but we have to add some of that in. These 3 ingredients alone are enough to make a paste. Now what I like to do is add in some Feed Stim XP. I've had a lot of success with this. It's a fish attractant. I glug my live system in this, and I've had non-stop fish on it. So I really like to add that into any boilies I make or other baits. Now today I'm just going to wrap this around the Equinox 18 mil. One of the tricks I like to do when I make a paste, I put it around the boilie. This is going to give a really slow release over time. Depending on how thick we make our paste, it might be a half hour to an hour. It depends on water temperature, of course. We'll wrap our paste around. It's a good way to make your bait even bigger also. Sometimes I like to fish 30 millimeter baits. Well, I'll take a 24 mil boilie and wrap paste around it. All of a sudden I have a huge bait. It's great for springtime when you have some nuisance fish. That way you get a really large bait out there. And it doesn't always help, but it definitely does help. So instead of catching maybe 10 pounders, you might bump it up to 20 pound and up fish, because the mouths on those fish are going to be much larger. So that's a little tip there. So let's get started right now. Really simple. All we're going to do to start off is breaking our egg, mixing it up, adding our liquids, then slowly mixing our base mix. Okay, I broke the egg into here. I'm just using a medium egg, nothing special. One trick I like to do is I'll go ahead and just take my little teaspoon and just get any extra egg out of here. Might as well get it all if you're paying for it, you know. Once in a blue moon, I'll crush up the shell in a blender. Actually got a little piece in there, it doesn't really matter. I'll crush it up in a blender just to give it a crunch factor to it. All we're going to do now is just mix this up here. Alright, doesn't have to be too crazy. And we're going to start with our liquid. Now give this a good little shake, just to make sure everything is nice and mixed, nothing settled to the bottom. And personally, I think this is around 100 mLs per kilo. We're just making small mixes, but I want this to be really attractive. So there's 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons, I'm going to do 3. And just let all that drip out as well. You really smell how good that is right out of the bottle. Again, that was the Equinox liquid additive. So set that aside. Again, just mix that up first. You can do this at the end or in between each one, it doesn't really matter. Get a nice brown color here. That smells really good. I love the smell of Equinox. And so does the fish as well. Okay, now the other one, like I said, I love to glug my live system, but I found this works really well with the Equinox Feed Stim XP. I'm only going to use 10 mLs of this. A little goes a really long way with this, and 10's actually probably overkill, but I just want this to seep out and pull the fish into my paste. Make sure all that's off there. And again, before we get to any more steps, make sure this is mixed really well. Just take a minute to do that. Okay, we're nice and mixed. You can see how that's looking right now. And next step, all we gotta do is start adding in the base mix. Fresh bag. I just used my last amount of that, and we're just going to slowly start to, let me slide this over here. Spoon by spoon, we're just going to start adding it in. Clean spoon, of course. I'll start out with, maybe 4 really big spoonfuls. And then start to mix this around. It's easier just to keep adding more of the base mix than to go back and forth adding more liquid, because when we mix all that liquid together, it's evenly distributed. So once we make our paste, every single section of that paste is going to have the same attraction. There's not going to be one that got more feed stem or one that got more additive. So right now you can see, you can even use this as like a dip or glug as well at this point. It's really, really liquefied. Now keep in mind, in between each step, you probably want to give it a little bit of time, because the base mix is dry, it is going to keep absorbing in. So we still have a ways to go, so that's why I added so much more. Keep mixing. You'll get to the point where you can only use your hands. We're a little bit ways off from that right now though. You can see it is getting a little thicker. Just take your time. This is only going to take you 5 minutes, so no sense in rushing it and just dumping a ton in. You can see it's getting thicker now. Still not there. Again, a few more spoonfuls. Towards the end, you want to keep doing less and less. A little is going to go a long way towards the end. You can see this is starting to actually form now, how it's stuck around the spoon so much. And it actually sounds a little bit different as you mix as well. Same approach to making boilies, only we're not going to boil this. Right now you can see how much you're basically stuck to the spoon at this point. Still not there because it's too soft. I can press in with my spoon. Still not there yet. And as you can see, a little's going to go a really long way with this. And like I said, I just used a medium egg. You can use any size you want. They had them on sale this week, so that's why we chose that one. Now, 2 more is definitely going to make a real big impact here. We're almost to the point where we got to get our hands in here. I'll use the back of the spoon to kind of push the base into the paste, because at this point we're pretty much almost at a paste. You can see how it's almost able to touch, but it's still tacky. See how it's kind of sticking there? It's still tacky. Now at this point, before I add any more, I'm going to let this rest for 5 minutes. The reason being, we have a lot of base mix in here, and we want to make sure that absorbs in all the liquid as much, because in 5 minutes it actually might be pretty stiff. So we're going to come back and check that out in 5 minutes. Same way as when you make a paste for boilie, let it rest for a little bit. When you're making your boilie mix, you let it rest before you actually roll the baits. So same scenario here. You can see it's stuck pretty good. So 5 minutes later, we'll be back. Okay, I let everything rest. It did get thicker. So basically right now, we're going to keep adding some more base in. It's really good to let it rest, because then you'll see how much you truly need. I think this is probably going to do it right here. We'll see. Okay, time to get the hands dirty here. Scrape off all my paste with my other spoon. Okay, just a little more. Okay. Alright, we'll just start to press down, kind of knead it like you do bread. Get everything together here. Just start to squeeze. Okay, it's sticking to my hands, so I know we need some more of the base in there. I'll just get all the pieces together first and try to get the stuff off the bottom as well. Probably helps to have a little bit bigger bowl too. I'm just using a small one. Right now you can feel it's kind of soft. You can see it's soft to the touch. So once I add in more, it's going to help that. You just keep working this in. And as it does sit for a while, it will harden up also. Let me scrape around here, because a lot of that's sticking to the bowl. We want to make sure all that's, don't want to waste any of that good stuff. Okay. Start to get that into the ball there. Just push it down. Get some more out here. Just put it on the bottom. Just use your knuckles to press down, flip it. Then we'll just keep getting more and more into that bait until you finally get to the point where you just have a really good stiff dough. It's slowly getting there, but it's still tacky. Once you knead it like that, it'll be tacky in the center. Maybe put just a little bit more. And the thing is, just keep adding little by little. Just don't want to add a bunch all at once, because it would just take it too far. Keep working it. You just feel it tacky with your hand, just put it in the bottom there. Get up some more of that base mix. Still tacky. I'm just going to keep doing this for a few minutes, and then we'll be back to show you the final product. Okay, it took a little bit. You can still see the outside has some of the base mix on it. We're just going to keep molding it like this with our hands. And I do have a little bit on my hand, as you can see. That's just from the initial stages. It's getting really stiff now. You can see it's a lot harder to press down. So just keep going like that, mold it real nice. You can still get a little bit of the leftovers in there. That way you don't waste anything. Keep working it in. Now, obviously you're not going to use the whole ball like that. So you can freeze some of it and just take a little bit of it with you. Keep working that in. We're just about there now. Just kind of rolled into a ball. We're pretty much done. I'm just going to seal it off here, make sure it's all sealed, no cracks. And there we go. Paste ready to use. Okay, so now we got our paste already. Got a giant ball of it. It's not giant, but obviously we're not going to use all this in a session. Like I said, throw half of it in the freezer, use half of it, and then also you can put it in a little Ziploc bag, like in your cooler bag, and this will keep for a while. It really smells good. Obviously, you know, like I said, I love Equinox. So it works really well. It's stiff, but not overly stiff. That way it does break down in the water. All I do usually, I'm going to get an Equinox 18 mil fresh out the bag. And just break off a little bit of paste. Just a little chunk. Press the boilie down into it. And we're just going to kind of mold it around. Okay, I actually need a little bit more. Just start to mold it around. And then roll when you're done. Now I have probably about, depending on how much you add on, like this here I made about 22 mil, maybe 24. Okay. And you want to make sure this is, there's no cracks. As you roll this around, you want a nice smooth surface. This will make it break a lot longer over time. So here we go. Let me get 18 mil out just to compare what we're looking at. So 18 mil width, no paste, and 18 mil width. So you can see the size difference once we add that on. And what's going to happen, over time, the water is just going to start to seep in. All the attractors are going to come out, just like that Equinox additive, especially the feed stem. That's just going to, especially on windy days. I love using paste on windy days. As soon as it starts to leak out and break down, it's just going to make a nice scent trail. All the carp are going to come instantly to your bait. And another good thing you can do with paste, let's say you want to make pop-ups, get a piece of cork ball and just do the same thing. Roll it around, boil it, and now you have a cork ball pop-up. Even if you want to, you can just do a quick boil with this. Let's say you only had a bag of 18s and you wanted 24s. Just put the paste around, boil it. There you go. Good as new. So this is good to go. Put this on my hook bait, and should be fine. So again, some of the Equinox base. I barely used anything out of here. I probably used, I don't know, maybe like not even a quarter of a kilo. Maybe even less than that. A little goes a long way. Just something you can do with Equinox base mix, or any of the base mixes for that matter. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please let me know. If you haven't done so, hit subscribe. And we'll probably do some more advanced paste in the future, but I just want to do a real basic one that I love to use with a few simple ingredients. Easy to do, only takes about 5 minutes. Thanks for watching.